It is now 7:06. You have exactly 8 hours and 54 minutes to think about why you're here, to ponder the error of your ways.
The Breakfast Club is an iconic 1985 coming-of-age film written and directed by John Hughes that is regarded by many people as being one of the quintessential films of the 1980s. On Saturday, March 24th, 1984, 5 students meet for an all-day detention at the fictional Shermer High School in the fictional suburb of Shermer, Illinois, outside of Chicago. Wrestler Andrew Clark, played by Emilio Estevez. Loner shy girl Allison Reynolds, played by Ally Sheedy. Awkward nerd Brian Johnson, played by Anthony Michael Hall. Popular rich girl Claire Standish, played by Molly Ringwald. And rebellious delinquent John Bender, played by Judd Nelson. As they gather in the school's library, Vice Principal Richard Vernon, played by Paul Gleason, warns them not to talk or move from their seats. Vernon tasks them with an assignment. Each must write a 1,000-word essay describing who they think they are.
We are going to write an essay of no less than 1,000 words, describing to me who you think you are.
Is this a test?
And when I say essay, I mean essay.
Bender mouths off to Vernon, earning him 2 months of detentions.
You want another one?
Yes.
You got it! You got another one right there! That's another one, pal!
Cut it out!
You through?
How many is that?
That's 7, including the one when we first came in and you asked Mr. Vernon here whether Barry Manilow knew that he raided his closet.
Now it's 8. You stay out of it.
Excuse me, sir, it's 7.
Shut up, Pee-wee.
Over the course of the day, all of the students, who don't really know each other, open up about their home lives and what stresses them out.
My God, are we gonna be like our parents?
It's unavoidable. When you grow up, your heart dies.
Who cares?
Carl the janitor, played by John Kapelos, is ridiculed by Bender.
How does one become a janitor?
You want to be a janitor?
No, I just want to know how one becomes a janitor, because Andrew here is very interested in pursuing a career in the custodial arts.
Oh, really?
Only to inform him that he knows more of their secrets than anyone else.
I looked through your letters, looked through your lockers. I listened to your conversations. You don't know that, but I do. I am the eyes and ears of this institution, my friends. By the way, that clock's 20 minutes fast.
Vernon confronts all of them, especially Bender, trying to bait him into a fight which would kick him out of school.
I want to know right now how tough you are. Come on, I'll give you the first punch. Let's go. Come on, right here. Just take the first shot. Please, I'm begging you. Take a shot right here. Come on. That's what I thought.
Vernon also laments his frustrations and fears to Carl.
You think about this. When you get old, these kids, when I get old, they're going to be running the country.
Yeah?
Now, this is the thought that wakes me up in the middle of the night. That when I get older, these kids are going to take care of me.
I wouldn't count on it.
Despite their differences, the students realize that they all face similar problems. Andrew and Allison bond over their difficult relationships with their parents.
Forget it. Leave me alone.
Wait a minute. Now you're carrying all that crap around in your purse. Either you really want to run away, or you want people to think you want to run away.
Eat shit.
Brian and Claire share the same stress and anxiety over being virgins.
Why didn't you let me know you were a virgin?
Because it's personal business. It's my personal, private business.
Well, Brian, it doesn't sound like you're doing any business.
I think it's okay for a guy to be a virgin.
As they slack off, get high, dance, and open up to each other, they wonder if by Monday morning they'll be friends, or if the friendships will end once this Saturday detention is over. This film was written and directed by John Hughes. He wrote the screenplay to this movie in just 2 days on July 4th and 5th, 1982. The movie was shot in sequence. The library in which this movie takes place was constructed in the gymnasium of Maine North High School, specifically for the movie because the actual library was too small to film in. The school closed down in 1982, 2 years before filming began. The building had been used for Park District purposes and the Chicago Blitz of the now defunct United States Football League. Finally, the Illinois State Police bought the building, and they use it for state police and lottery operations. The Chicago Public Library donated over 10,000 books to be used in the movie. The zip code mentioned in the film, 60062, belongs to Northbrook, Illinois, a town about 30 miles north of Chicago. Northbrook was originally incorporated as Shermerville and changed its name in 1923. One of the main roads through the town is named Shermer Road. Glenbrook North High School, on which the film is based, is located on Shermer Road. John Hughes graduated from Glenbrook High School and based his movies on the school and the students. The film's title comes from the nickname invented by students and staff for detention at New Trier High School, a school attended by the son of one of John Hughes' friends. Those at the school who were sent to detention were designated members of the Breakfast Club. The Breakfast Club of that school may have taken its name from one of America's longest-running radio network entertainment shows, broadcast from Chicago from 1933 to 1968. Some other proposed titles for this movie were Library Revolution and The Lunch Bunch. Molly Ringwald and Anthony Michael Hall of 16 Candles fame were the very first to be cast in this film. Nicolas Cage was originally considered for the role of John Bender, but they couldn't afford his salary at the time. John Cusack auditioned several times for the role and eventually got cast. The main reason that John Hughes decided to replace John Cusack with Judd Nelson was that Hughes felt that John Cusack looked too nice to play a character as menacing and angry as John Bender. If John Hughes couldn't get Emilio Estevez to play the role of Andrew Clark, he considered Michael J. Fox, Jim Carrey, Tom Cruise, Matthew Broderick, and Rob Lowe. During filming, Judd Nelson was 25 years old. Emilio Estevez and Ali Sheedy were 23 years old. And Molly Ringwald and Anthony Michael Hall, who were dating, were 16 years old. Judd Nelson stayed in character off camera, even bullying Molly Ringwald. John Hughes nearly fired him over this, but Paul Gleason defended Nelson, saying that he was a good actor and he was just trying to get into character. Paul Gleason's character of Vernon was based on a wrestling coach from John Hughes High School who flunked him in gym. Hughes later ran into the guy, and the coach told him that the movie was good, but that the teacher character was a real jerk. Paul Gleason was cast as Richard Vernon because John Hughes liked him in the 1983 film Trading Places. Anthony Michael Hall's mother, Mercedes Hall, and his younger sister, Mary Christian, played his character's mother and sister in the movie when they drop him off at detention. John Hughes himself has a cameo as Brian's father, seen picking him up at the end of the movie. To break up all of the talking, John Hughes had originally written a scene in which the school's synchronized swimming team comes by for a Saturday practice with its extremely sexy phys ed teacher played by Karen Lee Hopkins. The teens would sneak out of the library and find a peephole into the woman's locker room. There, they would spy on her topless. During rehearsals in Chicago, Molly Ringwald, Ali Sheedy, and the co-producer Michelle Manning ganged up on John Hughes, saying that they strongly objected to the gratuitous female nudity. That night, John Hughes revised the script, and Karen Lee Hopkins' scenes were rewritten for Carl the janitor. The role of Carl the janitor was originally cast with actor Rick Moranis. However, When shooting began, Rick Moranis decided to give his character a funny Russian accent. Now, this did not fit at all into the character or the type of serious film that John Hughes was trying to make, but John Hughes couldn't fire an actor as great as Rick Moranis. Producer Ned Tannen told Hughes, "I guess I'll have to fire him." Rick Moranis was removed from the film, and John Kapelos was cast. According to Molly Ringwald, Claire was originally scripted as having pasta salad for lunch. Ali Sheedy suggested to John Hughes that Claire should bring sushi for lunch, which was generally considered a more upper-class food in America during the mid-1980s.
You won't accept a guy's tongue in your mouth and you're gonna eat that?
Can I eat?
It was Ali Sheedy's idea to put Captain Crunch cereal in the sandwich to give it an extra crunch sound. Ali Sheedy really did eat the sandwich filled with pixie stick dust and unrefined sugar, just like she does in this movie. The dandruff that her character Allison shakes onto her pencil drawing for snow was achieved by sprinkling Parmesan cheese on the paper. The marijuana the actors smoke in the film was actually oregano. Anthony Michael Hall's quote,
"Chicks cannot hold their smoke. That's what it is,"
was from a stand-up comedy routine performed by Richard Pryor. Judd Nelson improvised the part at the closing of the film when Bender raises his fist in defiance. He was supposed to just walk into the sunset, but John Hughes asked him to play around with some different things. Everybody loved it, and it has become an iconic symbol of the 1980s as well as cinema history. John Hughes said it was difficult to get the movie greenlit by Universal Studios because executives complained that there were no bare breasts, no party scene, and nobody drinking beer. The Breakfast Club is the only movie in John Hughes' high school trilogy that was rated R due to the strong language, and I think is warranted.
You know, you just don't understand the pressure that they can put on you.
I don't understand what? You think I don't understand pressure, Claire? Well, fuck you!
Its theatrical release in February 1985 found it becoming a massive hit, grossing over $51.5 million on a budget of just $1 million, making it a massive box office success. The theme song, "Don't You Forget About Me," was written for the film by Keith Forsey. Billy Idol, Brian Ferry, and Chrissie Hynde of The Pretenders all turned the song down. Chrissie Hynde then suggested that they offer it to her husband Jim Kerr's band, Simple Minds. The song was a major hit, reaching number 1 on the US Billboard Top 100 charts in May of 1985. The song would become one of the most iconic classic songs of the 1980s. The Breakfast Club has been called the quintessential 1980s film. I could see that. If you say, what is the quintessential 1980s film, I picture Back to the Future and Michael J. Fox. But this movie's right there. Really anything by John Hughes in the 1980s. In 2006, Entertainment Weekly ranked this movie number 1 on their list of the 50 best high school movies of all time. In 2016, The Breakfast Club was selected for preservation in the National Film Registry by the Library of Congress for being culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant to American history. This movie is iconic, the music is iconic, even the poster became iconic. The poster shows the characters posing together in a group. It was photographed by Annie Leibovitz, and this movie poster would influence pretty much every single teenage movie poster for decades to come. This movie is yet another example of John Hughes' screenwriting magic, not to mention his fantastic directing style. Not many people could write a movie about moody teenagers talking in a room and making it entertaining and iconic. Many Americans remember sitting in detention, even me. Not supposed to talk, not supposed to move. The teachers always acted extra moody, indifferent about whatever reason you were there. This is definitely a huge film for Generation X, the generation born roughly from 1961 to 81, give or take a couple of years. But John Hughes himself was a baby boomer born in 1950, and this movie is beloved by all generations.
But what we found out is that each one of us is a brain.
And an athlete.
And a basket case. A princess.
And a criminal.
Does that answer your question? Sincerely yours, The Breakfast Club.
I'll go ahead and give 10 out of 10 stars to the 1985 iconic hit film, The Breakfast Club.